what's going on with some of the imagery we have in the black community, especially with our rap artists. You got 50-year-old brothers still rapping about the same thing they was rapping about when I was 16 years old. Where is the growth and when do we transition? Because I think that it's creating this kind of facade for the black male that this is how you're supposed to be. What do you think about that?
I would say that a lot of black men are developmentally stuck. They never went through a rite of passage. They were never taught the value, responsibility, and accountability. Many of them shy away from that. I think the masculinization of black women helps to feed that as well, because so many brothers always have a sister who they can rely on who is responsible and accountable. And I think that serves as a dysfunctional plan B when a black man can look to the woman to be the supporter and the provider and the protector as opposed to himself. I think in order for us to get out of that developmental phase where we're stuck, it's going to require a lot of support from our women.
Now, what are the 5 families of the black bourgeoisie? Because there's 5 families. Just like the Italian mafia has 5 families, we got 5 families, okay? There is the entertainment aristocracy. These are black people who are well-placed in entertainment. Jay-Z, Oprah Winfrey, Bob Dylan, LeBron James. It is the entertainment aristocracy. These are blacks who get rich through entertainment and athletics, and their job is to do what? Deflect all attention away from white people as being responsible for the condition of black people. As you notice, force your religious beliefs on other people because that's the way they were forced on us in Africa. And then you have homosexual supremacy, which is the coming age of social order in the black community, where any black person, particularly black men, in order for you to be successful as an entrepreneur, as an athlete, as an entertainer, as a clergyman, okay, you're going to have to bend over and have sexual relations with a homosexual male to prove that you are still the white man's bitch.
I heard you talking about homosexuality and the fact that you don't believe that people are born gay. Now, like I've known people that would argue that there has been scientific evidence to support that there is a difference in the mentality and the mind state of someone gay, physicality-wise.
I would agree that there's something different in the mindset and psychological environment of someone who is homosexual or lesbian.
I think there's something about your mindset said about that outfit that you're wearing. Is it environmental as well?
I treat homosexuality and lesbianism as...
So the outfit that you're wearing is a mental disorder and not just a mental mindset. I understand now.
...a mental disorder, which is what it has been for all of African history.
Not so. We actually have quite a few records showing that homosexuality was around in Africa as it has been in every other society that there ever was on this planet.
And for all of American history up until 1973.
And the reason for that, the reason why it was removed from that particular list.
Sí, la manifestación acaba de terminar. Esta manifestación ha sido pacífica en la mayoría del tiempo que ha transcurrido por las calles de Salou, y en esta manifestación estaba presente Ibrahim Sila, que es el hermano del senegalés fallecido. Ibrahim, tú nos has explicado que las personas que estaban en el piso, junto con tu hermano, decían que la actuación de los Mossos d'Esquadra ha sido, o fue en su momento, en el día de ayer, fue brutal, ¿verdad?
Bueno, brutal porque entraron sin avisar. Bueno, lo que ha pasado duele bastante y no es la primera vez que lo vienen a buscar en un piso. Pero ellos, viviendo con los senegales, sabiendo ¿Qué son los senegales? No son terroristas.
It is with great pleasure that I call upon Mr. Malcolm X to speak fifth in favor of the motion.
Mr. Chairman, tonight is the first night that I've ever had an opportunity to be as near to conservatives as I am. And the speaker who preceded me, first I want to thank you for the invitation to come here to the Oxford. And the speaker who preceded me, first I want to thank you for the invitation to come here to the Oxford Union. The speaker who preceded me is one of the best excuses that I know to prove our point concerning the necessity sometimes of extremism in defense of liberty, why it is no vice, and why moderation in the pursuit of justice is no virtue. I don't say that about him personally, but that type is He's right. X is not my real name. But if you study history, you'll find why no black man in the Western Hemisphere knows his real name. Some of his ancestors kidnapped our ancestors from Africa and took us into the Western Hemisphere and sold us there. And our names were stripped from us, and so today we don't know who we really are. I'm one of those who admit it, and so I just put X up there to keep from wearing his name. And as far as this apartheid charge that he attributed to me is concerned, evidently he has been misinformed. I don't believe in any form of apartheid. I don't believe in any form of segregation. I don't believe in any form of racialism. But at the same time, I don't endorse a person as being right just because his skin is white. And oftentimes when you find people like this, I mean that type, when a man whom they have been taught is below them has the nerve or firmness to question some of their philosophy or some of their conclusions, usually they put that label on us, a label that is only designed to project an image which the public will find distasteful. I'm a Muslim. If there is something wrong with that, then I stand condemned. My religion is Islam. I believe in Allah. I believe in Muhammad as the apostle of Allah. I believe in brotherhood of all men. But I don't believe in brotherhood with anybody who's not ready to practice brotherhood with our people. I don't believe in brotherhood. I just take time to make these few things clear because I find that one of the tricks of the West, and I imagine my good friend, or at least that type, is from the West. One of the tricks of the West is to use or create images. They create images of a person who doesn't go along with their views, and they make certain that this image is distasteful, and that anything that that person has to say from there on in, is rejected. And this is a policy that has been practiced pretty much by the West. It perhaps would have been practiced by others had they been in power, but during recent centuries, the West has been in power. They've created the images, and they've used these images quite skillfully and quite successfully. That's why today we need a little extremism in order to straighten a very nasty situation out, or a very extremely nasty situation out. I think the only way one can really determine whether or not extremism in defense of liberty is justified is not to approach it as an American or a European or an African or an Asian, but as a human being. If we look upon it as different tights, immediately we begin to think in terms of extremism being good for one and bad for another, or bad for one and good for another. But if we look upon it, if we look upon ourselves as human beings, I doubt that anyone will deny that extremism in defense of liberty, the liberty of any human being, is a vice. Anytime anyone is enslaved or in any way deprived of his liberty, that person is a human being. As far as I'm concerned, he is justified to resort to whatever methods necessary to bring about his liberty again. But most people usually think in terms of extremism as something that's relative, related to someone whom they know or something that they've heard of. I don't think they look upon extremism as it's by itself or all alone. They apply it to something. A good example, and one of the reasons that it can't be too well understood today, many people who have been in positions of power in the past don't realize that the power, centers of power are changing. When you're in a position of power for a long time, you get used to using your yardstick, and you take it for granted that because you forced your yardstick upon others, that everyone is still using the same yardstick, so that your definition of extremism usually applies to everyone. But nowadays, times are changing, and the center of power is changing. People in the past
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillah, ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wahdahu la sharika lah, wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluhu, amma ba'd. I want to thank you, brothers and sister, for attending this seminar on the life of a very, very great, significant, and powerful man in this country, inshallah. I want to welcome the people online. I pray to Allah the Almighty that you can understand us very well, and I hope that we'll learn a lot from this seminar. One of the great difficulties for me in this seminar is what should I leave out? Actually, this is an abbreviated seminar for a longer one that I plan to do for about between 10 and 12 weeks. So there's much on the life of Malcolm X, Al-Hajj Malik Shabazz, that we want to talk about, and we're just going to really honestly touch the surface in these next 6 hours. Inshallah, it should be very good. You should really learn a lot. I hope that everyone have a pad and a pen. It's impossible to sit here. I know you're great and smart and all of that, but it's impossible to sit here and get all of this that we're going to share with you and not take notes. I think it's to your advantage. Allah blessed me in 1978. I went to Quran and studied, and they would tell you I had books open and taking notes, and I still have those notes today from 1978. And every once in a while I go back and look at those notes. Very, very, very beneficial. Before I tell you even what we're going to try to do in the next 2 weeks, I'm going to ask what I think is a critical question. Those online, I want you to answer the question too. Now, you might get it to me maybe later tonight or by next week. But I'm going to ask you a question. I'm actually going to begin before I even say a word. I'm going to ask you a question. Why are you here today? Why did you want to study the life of Malcolm X? And by learning from you why you want to study the life of Malcolm X, it's going to help me. It's going to help me. So you can't escape it. So the first one is going to bless us is my good brother here. You're going to tell us your name, and you're going to tell me, why did you come here in this area? And don't tell me you live around the corner. And come here to sacrifice your time, and I assume money, unless you know somebody. Why do you want to take this class?
Assalamu alaikum. My name is Hisham.
Hisham?
Yes, Hisham. And basically, I think I wanted to learn, the details of the life of Malcolm X, and what can I do? What can I learn from him that I can do now